Right, so the good news is a bumper festive season. The bad news is stage 6 rolling blackouts again affecting South Africa's image as a tourism destination and some of the smaller tourism businesses. Let's see how this all plays into Meetings Africa 2023, which is a business trade show organised by South African Tourism. That will allow exhibitors to showcase their offerings to international and local buyers. The two-day trade fair is being held for the 17th time in the Sandton Convention Centre at the end of February. Well, we're joined now by spokesperson for SA Tourism, Thandiwe Mathibela. Great to have you with us in studio again. Let's start with the season. By all accounts, a great season in the Western Cape. Do we know what's going on yet, though? What about KwaZulu-Natal, where unfortunately many beaches affected by the infrastructure problems, the sewage running into the seas?
It was a great season all round, and good evening to all the viewers. Thank you, Francis. It was a great season all round. As per the insert and the lady making reference to the domestic tourists having come out, they really did. It was really the first festive season post-COVID that people came out. Even the smaller provinces saw very high occupancy rates. We know that in KZN, we're looking at numbers between 70 and 90%, especially in that week between Christmas and New Year's. Despite the slight challenges that they had in the province. I think what is important to always state about the province itself is that there's 600 kilometers of coastline. So while there may have been challenges in the city of Durban, travelers, both domestic and international, still went out to enjoy the coastal province of KZN. Yeah.
That occupancy rate sounds good.
It does. It really does. And fortunately for the sector, we saw similar occupancy rates in the different provinces.
Everybody's saying, you know, the recovery would mean getting back to 2019, before COVID-19 hit. Are we heading there? And I know you were encouraging South Africans to also be tourists, essentially, wherever they went. Just tell me about that.
From a domestic tourism perspective, we've actually surpassed the 2019 numbers if you look at our overnight day trips. We are there by 23.9 million day trips that were taken between Jan and September already. So that doesn't even take into consideration the festive season. So the domestic people, the domestic travelers have really heeded the call of traveling our country. We know that as South African Tourism, we ran a campaign called the Gimme Some of That Short Left campaign, where we are saying to travelers, we know that you go through to different provinces to visit family and friends, but how's about you take a short left? And how's about you actually also have a tourism experience? And we've seen South Africans do that.
What about international guests?
International arrivals, international people also came. What really helped us in that regard is that we started having direct flights into different parts of our country. We know that in September, for instance, we introduced a direct flight from Germany all the way through to the Kruger International Airport, which meant that people could actually come directly to experience the safari that they are actually here for, because we know that Europeans love that. But then they went on to further venture into other provinces. And we've seen that. We've seen direct flights between big cities and big countries such as the US, all the way through to Cape Town and obviously Johannesburg. In September, we also launched a direct flight between Belgium and South Africa, Belgium and Joburg, as well as Belgium and Cape Town. So those direct flights have contributed immensely into the numbers that we've seen this festive season.
However, there are threats. I mean, how is SA Tourism feeling right now that there's stage 6 rolling blackouts? What do international guests think about that? We had a bit of a crunch in terms of airlines operating within the country as well.
Yes, so I think load shedding is affecting all spheres of our economy. And we really are hoping that government will find a solution that will help us all. We know that the bigger businesses have learned over the years to obviously put up backup. And we know that the smaller businesses are still challenged with that because of capital issues. But what we do have from a tourism grading council perspective is we've got a tourism green incentive program where we actually encourage tourism businesses to be graded, and therefore they can actually tap into our funds that we've got. But overall, I think the sentiment is true across the different spheres of the economy. Load shedding is a challenge, and it's a challenge that needs to be addressed quite urgently.
All right, Meetings Africa 2023, then I think the next big event on your agenda.
Yes.
How could that bolster South African tourism? Tell us
I think
about
what
it.
is important to state about Meetings Africa is actually what it is. Meetings Africa is a trade show that actually focuses on the business events industry. The business events industry is actually about the meetings, the incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. So they're very big meetings that people come to have in different parts of the world. So for us as South African Tourism, we're hosting Meetings Africa under the banner of Advancing Africa Together, which is really around making sure that we grow together as a continent. So at Meetings Africa, you find products that are not only South African, but that are products from the rest of the African continent. What is actually very exciting this year is that we'll be revealing a new look and feel, a new brand image of the show so that it's relevant post the COVID-19 era. And we've got different products that are going to be showcasing at Meetings Africa. And what we then have is that we invite buyers from various parts of the world to actually come and see these products so that they can actually package them and then bring people to our shows.
Just to make it real, what's an example of a product? So something that would appeal to business.
A convention center, for instance, a convention center. So for instance, if you look at Kenya, a Kenyan convention center, they would come and showcase what they offer. A Sandton Convention Centre would showcase what they offer so that a person who's looking to bring a conference to that country can know what facilities and infrastructure we've got to be able to host a successful meeting. So that is an example. So for example, if you look at the people that deal with technology and gear, sound and all that, that's the kind of trade show that is.
And I would imagine that we as a country are doing well there, given the Sandton Convention Centre, the Cape Town Convention Centre. Are we doing well in terms of those big events where you can have generators and things run smoothly?
Yes, so how it works is that we submit bids, we bid for different events. So far we've won around 34 bids, and those bids are estimated to bring about 288 million to our economy. We have submitted more bids, and if those bids come through, we could actually contribute all the way up to $1 billion to the South African economy. Sure. And that brings thousands of international arrivals to our country as well, which is actually our mandate. We want to have international people coming through to our country.
All right, wonderful. Let's end with, 2023. What else is planned? Anything special to really push us out there into the world? And it's often said that South Africa is so beautiful, but a lot of international guests just don't know about the offering yet.
I can tell you that as South African Tourism, we are upping our efforts in terms of ensuring that the world knows about us. The world knows about us. The world wants to come to us. We have a calendar packed with different activities that we've got. We've got exciting campaigns coming through, campaigns targeted at different markets. We are going to the world. We're already on our way to Fitur in Madrid, where we are again showcasing what we've got as a sector. We're looking forward to a bumper domestic season again. We've got renewed focus on how it is that we're going to make sure that more and more South Africans travel our country. And also we are remaining so optimistic about ensuring that we've got intra-Africa travel. You know, recently Kenyans can now come to South Africa without needing a visa, at least for the first 90 days of their visit as tourists. And that does a lot in terms of promoting arrivals to our country, because the less hurdles there are in entering our country, the more it is that we can actually welcome visitors. So we are so excited about 2023. The plans are big, and we know that it's going to show in the numbers.
All right, visas offered cited, and thank you for that update on the past season and what's coming up. SA Tourism spokesperson Thandiwe Mathibela.